humming of our national anthem. You may Okay, so let's start off with our presentation. We are now going to talk about Libya issues and how to solve them. First of all, we would like to talk about the population and in the way of how we got the assignment, of how we've been requested. We're going to answer the questions that were asked in the assignment. Okay, so about how we would describe the population of our whole country. The population of Libya is about 6.5 million people, but I think we're getting a little bit more people every day because of this counting was like in about 2009. So right now, like, if you go to the capital, yeah, and you be stuck in a traffic jam like every day, you'd be just wondering, like, are we really just 6.5 million? I mean, if you think about it, like the whole 6.5 million just inside that capital. So yeah, we're having a little bit of traffic jams every now and then, and so yeah, about 50% of whom are living on the western coast. We call them, the Westerns. That's the name we give them. About the 2 million living on the eastern coast, those are the people like living near the mountain areas, sort of, and the rest are like spread around the deserted areas in the western mountains. And yeah, that would be pretty much about the population. Coming to the religious views and diversities over here. There are two different. They were two different religion diversities in Libya. In the 7th century, there were the Berbers, which are the origins of Libyans. I mean, the origin people in Libya. Exactly, and the Jewish people. So they were all good together, like lived in harmony with like no problem at all. Then by the 8th century, the Muslim Brotherhood, by the 8th century, came to Libya and they suggested for some of the tribes for the Islam. They suggested the Islam to know more about the Islam. So by the end of the 1800s,
Muslim conquerors, not brotherhood.
Yeah, Muslim conquest. Sorry,
Okay, brotherhood in the 8th century.
Yeah, that's like nearly the same, really. Just conquest,
Okay.
but they are made of brotherhood. So, Muslim conquest reached Libya by the 8th century, and so they developed the Islam in Libya. By then, until the end of the 1800s, well, like most of Libya was known for being conquered by the Islam, and so and by the end of the 1900s, there was that's when started the revolution of Muammar Gaddafi and his regime. He saw that there was like a really low amount or certain amount of the Jewish population. So he thought about leading them to other countries or immigrating them to other countries. So he'd make Libya a Muslim country, like full of Muslims, like only Islamic religion. And you can see that like the Jewish families on the left side by the end by the 1900s years, and the side of Islam that started in the 8th century. Next slide. So you can see on the left side we have the capital of Libya, Tripoli, and that's like the downtown area. We have the freedom. What?
Muslim Square.
Yeah, the Muslim Square, or Muslim Square, and we have the downtown area right here with all the native people are living a little bit over here to the eastern side. Yeah, and this is the national dress that we say in Libya. This is what we dress for some events or celebrations, such as by the celebration of after Eid. It's called the how do you say iftar?
Breakfast.
Yeah, breakfasting. It's like the last 3 days. People start dressing like this. It's like the national dress of Libya. They dress like special occasions like that, such as this Eid of breakfasting. They have the what else? The they call it the
Some like to wear it every Friday.
yeah,
or
they would
prayer.
wear it every Friday to Friday prayer, and yeah, that would be pretty much about the dress. Here we have this is Benghazi, which is like the eastern side of Libya. Yeah. So nowadays, true that we have a little bit of issues and fightings every now and then in Benghazi, but people are working on it, trying not to have all those conflicts between the tribes of the eastern tribes. We are getting a hard time over there, but hopefully we get everything right. What makes the people in our community unique? Our people during the revolution have been suffered like greatly. They've been abused, misused by militias and by Gaddafi regimes. They would let them to do kill. They would let them to kill each other, kill their families, just so they could live. Um, and just about that, we sort of lost our humanity in February Revolution because of him. Um, so in that part, Libyans have got lost in ways to go about it. They needed guidance, support in this regard. It was difficult for us to get back into the track. So and the economic conditions were like good for us because of Libya depends only on oil because we're known for our oil over there in Libya. And as it says, we're suffering because of the oil field closures. Because if it was bombed during the Gaddafi times, he would know that we'd take over Libya. So he would start, bombing all those areas so we could have like benefits of the oil. That's what pretty much he did to us. And all we have now is what's left over of the oil. We have Leptis Magna and the Great Desert of Libya. That's what left us for tourism. That's the great Libya we have, and what's left for us. Marwan, if you may.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marwan Abdullah. We have some of the biggest issues here. The number one is lack of security and spread of weapons, tribal conflict, and inactivity and distrust in the government and decrease in voting turnout, education system, and now the structure of the constitution, foreign forces, and media competition. Now, we have this picture here is the best way to take off the weapons from the militias. And the demographic generalization here. Actually, the vast majority of the Libyan community want to live in harmony and with a good, peaceful life and a good health care, bright future, and a good education system. And the only way to get these things here is to teach our children in the future the democracy, because it's the only way to solve this problem here.
Okay, so Nada.
Here is like, hello, my name is Nada. Here is like some of the Libyan women through the years. Here's like Libyan women at the 50s. Here's women now participating in voting and workshops and politics. Unfortunately, this woman called Salwa, they killed her just because she's saying the truth and she wants a better Libya. And this is the traditional Libyan dress. I have a video that would really make you understand what is really going on in Libya, and from a woman's perspective, and what Libyan women want. Can I?
I want to change pictures.
No.
I have never ever forgotten the words of my grandmother who died in her exile. Son, resist Gaddafi, fight him, but don't you ever turn into a Gaddafi-like revolutionary. Almost 2 years have passed since the Libyan revolution broke out, inspired by the waves of mass mobilization in both the Tunisian and the Egyptian revolution. I joined forces with many other Libyans inside and outside Libya to call for a day of rage and to initiate a revolution against the tyrannical regime of Gaddafi. And there it was, a great revolution. Young Libyan women and men were at the forefront, calling for the fall of the regime, raising slogans of freedom, dignity, social justice. They have shown an exemplary bravery in confronting the brutal dictatorship of Gaddafi. They have shown a great sense of solidarity from the Far East to the Far West to the South. Eventually, after a period of 6 months of brutal war, at a toll rate of almost 50,000 dead, we managed to liberate our country and to topple the tyrant. However, Gaddafi left behind a heavy burden, a legacy of tyranny, corruption, and seeds of divergence. For 4 decades, Gaddafi's tyrannical regime destroyed the infrastructure as well as the culture and the moral fabric of Libyan society. Aware of the devastation and the challenges, I was keen, among many other women, to rebuild the Libyan civil society, calling for an inclusive and just transition to democracy and national reconciliation. Almost 200 organizations were established in Benghazi during and immediately after the fall of Gaddafi, almost 300 in Tripoli. After a period of 33 years in exile, I went back to Libya, and with unique enthusiasm, I started organizing workshops on capacity building, on human development of leadership skills. With an amazing group of women, I co-founded the Libyan Women's Platform for Peace, a movement of women leaders from different walks of life to lobby for the socio-political empowerment of women and to lobby for our right for equal participation in building democracy and peace. In a very difficult environment, the pre-elections, an environment which was increasingly polarized, an environment which was shaped by the selfish politics of dominance and exclusion, I led an initiative by the Libyan Women's Platform for Peace to lobby for a more inclusive electoral law, a law that would give every citizen, no matter what your background, the right to vote and run, and most importantly, to stipulate on political parties the alternation of male and female candidates, vertically and horizontally, in their lists, creating the zipper list. Eventually, our initiative was adopted and successful. Women won 17.5% of the National Congress in the first elections ever in 52 years.
As you would see, this woman, she is represented as Libyan women. They are strong and they can win the votes. But we live in a society that dominates men, and they say like women, they're not smart, they wouldn't do anything. The only place they have is the kitchen, and we do refuse that. And a lot of women, after the revolution, they stood up for their rights and for what they believed in and said no, no more. Yes, we are women, and we know our role in the society, and we know we're religious, and we don't say no to that, but we also have rights, and we want to live as human. It's not okay to hit us, it's not okay to rape us, and it's not okay to kill us. So we have a lot of brave Libyan women, even braver than men, pretty much, yani. So, but we need somebody protecting us. We need government, we need army, we need safety, security, because if that woman I showed you, Selwa, she was killed in her house. Somebody came to her house and killed her.
Because of what?
Because she tells people, go and vote for the parliament. Because Benghazi have, Muad will make you understand, or will explain that the nature in Benghazi, it's different pretty much from Tripoli, but it's pretty much the same. There's no security. There's no police. Police, they don't really work in Libya. If something happened, the army intervened. That's it. So we are fed of seeing everyday guns, seeing every day waking up with somebody died, just because they are saying something and they want the future to be better for the women, the children, the men, the elderly, health, education, streets. We want a decent life. Nothing more, nothing less. And after all, we know that our Libya is going to a very hard times now, but every Libyan is patient because they believe in a better future, and we believe that if we stick together as Libyan, and if other countries will help us, we will be very welcome. But you have to start with yourself and make sure that, or believe that you can do it. You can get out the door and do something. You have to start with yourself. After all, we are very patient and we are very positive about the future, although it seems so dark and it's vague. It's not clearly where are we going, but we have faith in our women and the good guys and the Libyan national who really loves the country and wants the best for it. So at the end, I'm gonna say, think positive and be creative. And that's it. Thank you very
Okay.
Done already? Like, I'm not gonna talk for an hour and a half. No? Okay. Alright, you can I'll share it.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Muad, and I'm from Libya, and we're going to talk about government in Libya after the revolution. Okay, so yes, so many would think that the revolution was the hardest part, but I think that was the easiest part. Like, if you look at this guy, like I was holding the automatic gun, it looks easy, and after the people have successfully gone through the revolution, you can press.
Okay.
We were looking for like a government or like an organization that can represent us, the people, and like we can get recognition from other countries so it can help us in the revolution. And then we had the NTC, or what's called the National Transitional Council. It was like a legislative council, and it wasn't elected because at that time some of the cities weren't liberated yet, so they had to have representatives from the city to get acceptance on the council. After that, the National Transitional Council had like democratic values, so they had to like maintain the separation of power, like in foreign democratic states. So they took the legislative branch and set an executive office to do the executive power. And for the judicial power, it was represented in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court itself was divided into two parts: the legislative branch and an executive branch. Okay, the National Transitional Council did a lot to help the revolution, and we're not going to say that these people were not patriotic or caring about the country, but there were a lot of infringement because no one was really watching over, because like at the time of the revolution, the Supreme Court, like it wasn't fully active, so we had like a government that is succeeding or abusing its powers. One thing is that we had a lot of aid going out from the country, even though that we ourselves were in need of that. And we had, when we were fighting Gaddafi, we had militias. So the National Transitional Council had supported the militias and called them rebels, and that we should pay them to stay in their battalions and militias without engaging in the army. Okay. All right. So the executive office was headed by this guy, Mujibid, but because like Libyans, they don't like a president or for you to stay for more than 5 months. Like they get bored very easily, and they would tell you to like you have to leave. Okay, so he stayed for a couple of months, and they were like, he's stealing money, he's stealing money. This is a thing that we used to say back in Gaddafi's time, when there was like a minister for education or a minister for any other ministry, health. They always say that he's stealing money, he's stealing the people's money. So that's what happened with Mujibid. Even the guy, he's like a businessman and he has multinational companies, so he's not in need for the money. After that came Abdurrahim al-Kib. Abdurrahim al-Kib was, he wanted to like change the old buildings and bring like new fancy stuff for the government. So he had spent like millions on decoration stuff. So they told him that he was stealing too, so he had to go. Okay. All right. The first elections that went all over Libya were the ones for the General National Congress elections. The General National Congress, which is like a parliament, but only a transitional one. Its job is to prepare for the parliament or the House of Representatives that will write the constitution. So the the people, like, they were very happy about it because it's the first time experience. They never had this before. Okay, you can press. All right. About 1.7 million of total 2.8 million registered voters participated. Now this is the hugest or the largest turnout in Libya's history for voting. How the General National Congress, the electoral system for it, is that it had 200 seats. And they had 120 for independence. Now the reason behind that large number is that they were in fear that political parties would gain control and dominate over the assembly and wouldn't represent the interests of the people. So they gave more place for the independents and 80 seats for political parties enlistment. Okay? Alright, now what happened is that after 8 months, which was a very, very long period for someone to stay in Libya. Okay? So the National Transitional Council, they transferred the power to the newly elected General National Congress. That was at this date, and it was like the peaceful transition of power in Libya's history. You can press?
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Now, results. Like, what happened? Like, what do Libyans want? What do they need? What are their views? And at that time, if you go back and look at what happened in Tunisia and Egypt, people were going after the Islamist parties. Like you can have the Nahda in Tunisia and the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So most political analysts were thinking that in Libya there might be the same thing. That they had a secularist dictator and the people were in need for Sharia and Islamic law to be represented in the country. Now, politics were new for Libyans. Some people might divide the whole thing to Islamists and liberals, which might look easier. You could say there are liberals and Democrats, which is true, but not entirely true. The same thing goes here. The Islamists are divided hugely. You can have Salafis. Now, Salafism is the branch where they do not like to interact with politics, but they are very peaceful. They will never harm you. They will never approach you with anything harmful. Now, for others, there are jihadists, those who think that there's no such thing as a Libyan country or an Egyptian country or Tunisia, and all these names are because of colonial history, and that we all should be the Islamic State and we should control the world. There are others like the Muslim Brotherhood. At the time of Gaddafi, they were in prison and most of them were out of the country. As for the liberals do not say that they're liberals. One reason is that the Libyan people, they have this image from Arabic media that being liberal or secular meaning a religious. So when you say that you're liberal, people look at you like are you an atheist? So it's really a hard word. Now, what happened is that the Islamists, they got together against the liberals or the non-Islamists, okay? And here are the largest political parties. This is representing the percentage that they've got in the elections. The National Forces Alliance, this was headed by Jibril, the guy that you saw in the picture, the businessman that they said that he was stealing money, because Libya, when people ask for someone to step out, and he steps out, they actually love him. So after like a couple of months, they'd be like, "Oh, we wish like to bring him back." So that's what happened. So like nearly 1 million of the voters, they voted for the National Forces Alliance, given the fact that most Islamic parties and like media, they were telling that this alliance or party is non-Islamic and it represents Western values and secular thought. Second in place with 10% is the Justice and Construction. This is a new name for the Muslim Brotherhood. It's like the political branch. It's a thing that they do. Like in Turkey and in Tunisia, they always have a separate name for the political representation. The third one, the National Front. This is like a group of political activists who were against Gaddafi at his time. Okay, all right. Now assigning a government. Now after like in the beginning of the meetings of the National Congress, they were trying to assign a government. So the first round they had Jibril again. Okay, his like now they like him like his party. Now even at the Congress they voted 86. This guy is Abu Shagur. He works at NASA here. Okay, he got 55. And then this guy, Awad al-Barasi, which a lot of people say that he's with the Muslim Brotherhood, even though that he does not say that in the open. Actually, no one in Libya says he's in the Muslim Brotherhood, even those in the construction, Justice and Construction Party. They don't say we're Muslim Brotherhood. They say no, we're Justice and Construction. Justice and Construction is part of Muslim Brotherhood, but we're not Muslim Brotherhood. So you could never find someone who's in the Muslim Brotherhood who tell you, I'm a Muslim Brotherhood. That was the first round. The second round, like the people inside, especially the Islamists, they didn't want Jibril to take over. So they had their votes going for Abu Shagur. So then Abu Shagur defeated Jibril with 96 to 94. Okay, you can press. But Abu Shagur, they didn't want him in the first place. So just the next day, after they chose him, or after 2 days, they told him to like come up with a cabinet, like a government of nominees, people that he thinks that should be in his government. And when he brought them up, they disagreed, or they didn't want to accept his nominees twice. Okay, he did that again, and they. So this is what he looked like at that time when they told him that we're sorry, we're not accepting your government. So he got quiet a little bit, and then he said, "Now I'm being betrayed." Well, this is politics. You can press. All right. Now the tension is rising between the liberals and the Islamists. So what they had to do, like to get out of this crisis, they brought a man who's not with this side, is not with this side, and they respect him, like both sides. This guy's Ali Zaidan. Ali Zaidan was he was really like a political man. He knew how to interact with people diplomatically, and a lot of problems that he faced is that militias were on the rise, that he couldn't face them directly because they were strong. So he was trying to pave the way for the next government to like take control. But they were like you know how political parties want their representatives to be in the government. So they had clashes with Zaidan. And then one of the militias told the General National Congress to terminate Zaidan's government. Like, you have like 15 days and you should end this government. This is a militia talking to the government. The government, the Congress, the Congress then, the next week, they had a meeting on how to terminate Zidane. So, like, you can expect what that might lead. Compress? Okay. So here, like, these guys, like, maybe the real ones controlling the country. So, after that, Zidane got kidnapped for like a day, and then they got him out. After he got out, he was still in his, you can say, stance or position, but he wasn't like the same way that he were. You can press. All right. A lot of things have happened since then. I don't want to bore you, so I'll tell you what's happening right now. Like, this is the prime minister of Libya. I mean, the two prime ministers of Libya. Okay,
You get two prime ministers in Libya?
we got two prime ministers.
No,
of Libya.
they didn't prove that.
I know, but he
Yeah.
was a prime minister at the time. This guy, he proceeded. He followed Zidane, but then they said no, we don't want Zidane, and actually the Congress voted on terminating Zidane's government. But there was like an error, constitutional error in doing that. So what happened is that Abdullah Thani, this is Abdullah Thani, and this is Ahmed Matig. Ahmed Matig came in the way in like, you can say an obscure way, like how he came. So Abdullah Thani, he wrote, he filed a complaint to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that he should be the Prime Minister, and that Ahmed Matig was not the right one. So the next week, the Congress, they had a meeting, and they had to step Ahmed Matig off and bring back Thani, which means that you can still have hope in the country as long as the law is substantial. You can press. All right. Okay, this is the last part.
After?
Yeah.
After, right?
Yes. Okay. We said that we have the Congress
National Congress.
and we have the government. They're not working together. They're working against each other. The militias, they're with the Congress. The Congress is helping them, funding them, and at times it happened that even in Tripoli, they had what they call the middle force of alliance of rebels, which is in Misrata. They had them to go to Tripoli to secure the city, which many people blame that Zidane was kidnapped because those people are in the control of the city, not the police or the army. What's happening in Benghazi too is that we have a division of militias, and they have their places of territories inside the city. We have the government and the Congress. The militias are with the Congress. The government, they don't have anyone. They're the victim. Then we have here what's called the Federal Council of Barqa or Serenica, I think.
Barca.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
In English, I think it's Serenica. It's the eastern part of Libya, like in the federal government when they got independence. They think that the eastern part should be separated, that Libya should be a federal country, and they don't believe in the government, and they have an army of their own, and they've been like the reason for most of the oil blockage for the past years. Here we have one of the militias, or let's say the jihadist or the extremist militia. This militia is called Ansar Sharia, which means like supporters of the Islamic law. Okay, these people they have said in the wide open that they do not believe in the government, and they do not believe in the people, in the government. They don't believe that they're even Muslims, and that like the democracy and the constitution and all that is just fidelity or infidelity. They are in Benghazi and no one can come to them. Why is that? Because the Congress thinks that they're the only one that can control the city and that we shouldn't terminate them. Or because they have guns and they have influence over them. Now here is one of the senior members, Colonel Khalifa Haftar. He was in the army. He was the head of the they call it land army, something like that. Back when Libya was in war with Chad. But then he got captured in one of the African countries. Not Chad, he was captured in Chad and got out. And then the Gaddafi was like, no, he's a traitor, so he had to come here to the US. And then came back in the revolution. And why he's in the picture is that during the past years, there have been more than 400 assassinations of army soldiers, particularly. They think that the people responsible are Ansar Sharia. Why is that? Because Ansar, they think that army and the police, they're not in the Islamic law, they're not in the Islamic religion, that we shouldn't have this thing. And they say that these people, they don't believe in God, and that they do all kind of abominations. Khalifa Haftar had to come up with the army and make a coalition to go against this group. Do you know what the Congress thought of that?
Bad?
They said it's a coup and that we're not allowing it. So they told them, what about the killings? They said they're crimes. Like you can have 400 or more soldiers getting killed, and all of it is crimes. Okay. Also, it has been said that in the first 3 days of Ramadan, there had been 17 soldiers killed. This is the first 3 days of Ramadan. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions.
The parliament? I'm not going to talk about the
Sorry.
parliament.
Also, right now, like a couple of weeks ago, we had another council. It's the House of Representatives. But the turnout was really less than the ones before, because people have, you can say that, lost hope, or they think that whatever they do, like you can't see demonstrations, sit-ins like how it used to be. So people are now, they're more, you can say, negative about what's going to happen in Libya. Yes?
So are people from like justice and construction related to Azhar Sharia?
No.
But the way I heard it, I don't know if that's right or true, is that Haftar said that he's going after Muslim Brotherhood and Mission. Has he said that?
I don't think so. But
Against extremists.
Do you know what they? Do you know what's
If they
happening?
kill people, yes.
If they kill people, yes.
Only the Muslim Brotherhood, they are killing people with no reason. He is like combining an army, a Libyan army, to remove or get rid of those people who are ruining Libyan people and killing them.
That is in Egypt, I know. But in
Yeah.
Libya, we don't have any proof that the Muslim Brotherhood are killing anybody.
Yeah.
What the Muslim Brotherhood is doing that might be provoking is that they're going against Haftar and in favor of the Congress, which many of the Libyan people see as like supporting
Azhar Sharia.
the extremists. But they're not like saying that these killings are okay. Yes?
You said that the Congress, the National Forces Alliance, have the majority, and they're not Islamist. They're like liberals and Middle East, not extremists or
How do you support?
how they're supporting the militia of supporters of Sharia.
Well, one problem is that the National Forces and Alliance, it's not a party. It's like a coalition of parties. What happened is that people knew that Jibril is popular, so they came with their small parties and they joined in. So you had like tens of parties inside. So you can imagine that after a period of time, that these people will start dividing and going for their own interests.
Yeah.
So, as I said, they're not really liberals. Yes?
What we see is that the situation is a little bit like complicated and confusing sometimes. So what do you suggest as a solution to the whole like what is happening right now?
Okay, that's easier to ask.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why I came here. So maybe we'll try to come up with a solution. Yes.
I just wanted to sort of pull out an idea there. If I heard you correctly, you suggested people are losing hope, and what do you think that means? I get what does it mean for the future of the country?
It means that people would welcome a new dictator. That might happen. Yes.
You see that as a possibility?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen like what happened in Egypt.
So how do you guys how do you guys memorize all these things? Because I couldn't keep track of you.
Well, like if you're living here, yeah,
Yeah,
you have to like hear them.
You see this.
Like
every
if
day.
you go to a cafe, people would say, "Ah, did you see what they did now? Did you see what they did?" And all that we hear it like like if one of the congressmen like curses or like
does anything more provoking.
curses the mother of another parliament, everyone's gonna be talking about it. So you memorize the names.
Well, the thing is, like, you have so many groups and so many people like engaged in the political situation. It's, like,
And
it's worth
I
looking
tell
at.
you, I have not mentioned all of them.
Yeah, man.
Okay, there are like groups in the south, like you can have the Tabu, and you can have not just the Tuareg. There's this Zwaya. This is like a tribal Libyan tribe in the south that has issues with the Tabu and Tuareg from like ages back. Now they have like
Fights?
a war. Like it stops and goes. It's not continual. It's not perpetual. They have it. And also, if you go back to the west, there are other militias that are not supporting the militias in Benghazi. Like you can have militias of the militias of Zintan. So it's really complicated.
So clearly, if you keep going this way, things are not gonna be okay in Libya. So what is the solution? Like, in your vision, from your point of view?
I have said that I have no solution.
Yeah, no solution.
Yet.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what I'm saying is applicable or not, but just what I'm seeing now, that every country has Islam or religion with politics, just have a lot of problems. So don't you think that we should, or all countries, especially which have these problems in there, like Tunisia, Egypt, and Libya, or something like that, just go work together and do their best to separate religion from politics and just eradicate all political parties who have religious background, so that we could have the all competition, political competition, just in developing countries and being a very good manager or being better than that or having a legal plan, rather than I'm liberal, I will take this government. No, this time for Islam. I'm
Yes.
talking about we have been for long years in just Islamists will do it or liberals,
Yes.
not who will do a better plan for this country. I think it doesn't need any individual solution now. So if I were you, I wouldn't have a solution for the situation too. I think it doesn't need just Libya. It does need all
Yeah,
people around the world
other
to just
countries, yes.
eradicate
if you
political parties which have religious background. We do need to depend on just efficient, with
yes.
efficient. I don't know.
If you take out the labels, liberals, Islamists, then you face them with the real issue, like what are you going to give to the country? What are you going to provide? So
I want to clarify something because pretty much some of you doesn't know that. Tunisian and Egyptian, they have constitution. We don't have constitution. We didn't have constitution or law for 42 years. So us not having any constitution,
we had a constitution.
we thank God that
before
it's
Gaddafi.
like that.
What about the
It
Green Book?
doesn't go any further.
The Green Book
So,
that
yeah.
The Green Book is like
Book of joke.
It's
my
like,
ideas and jokes about what's happening.
Book of joke.
It's like
Let me pick up on that though, because at one point you suggested that the Supreme Court had enough legitimacy at one point anyway to sort of resolve a conflict over the prime
we
minister.
have an ancient constitution that was from Idris, the king Idris.
SUSI?
Yeah, but then it was a federal system, and now they don't want the federal system. So they can adjust it, and we can like adapt it. But some of the people that have issues of no, we don't like that, and also there's corruption in the council that really is writing it. But now there are people are writing the constitution as we speak every day, and we have hope, or we are hopeful that the parliament will do better because there are a lot of good people involved and they want, but we have now العزل السياسي كيف.
Well,
Political evaluation?
Yeah, they will do that because now after we voted and it's okay, we are happy with the people we voted. Now they said no, we're not happy with that, so they're gonna change it. So we are believing in our constitution that will provide us security and laws that we can follow. The Libyan will follow. If you cross a red light, you will get $500 or something. They will never gonna cross because they really love money. Nobody doesn't love money. You can't So, and also the Libyan people, they have oil. So even if they don't work, they will give you money. And a lot of people, no, I don't want. I have my right from oil. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay,
So we do have that, and we also have the people, just 1 minute, that understood freedom very far away, that they can do anything and nobody will tell you anything. Like you go do anything and you're not responsible of your action. So we do suffer from that pretty much. But there are normal people living normal life. It's okay. Only the people who are involved in the politics and everyone says, yeah, look at that, he's doing something, they will come and kill you. Yeah, pretty much. Not. But if you are a normal people, pretty much only the gas will be shorted, the light will be no more, the water no more, the increase of some kind of food or anything, but pretty much.
Okay, can we hear like what people think?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I would like to ask if this man Haftar is just fighting the militia only, or he's willing to establish a new political.
From his words, he said that he's not interested in becoming a president or being a part of a government. He said that he's only doing that because his fellows are being killed, and that he thinks that he should do a thing about it. Noting the fact that before he came in this position and made like this coalition called Karama, which means dignity. There were like groups of police officers who were really getting sick of the situation and the killings, and they were trying to go and fight the extremists. The problem is that the Congress is not letting this happen. but the killings are going. I would not be exaggerating if I say it's an average more than 2 dead people each day for like the past years.
So this is from the policeman, right? This is like the average 2 people from the policeman, right?
Police and
Army.
army together.
How many are killings at the extremists? What is the average of the killings at the extremists?
You'll never
Like
know.
extremist dead people?
Ah.
You can never know. Why is that? Because one occasion that happened when you could say like the special army that we have in Benghazi, they were securing a hospital, the largest in Benghazi, and then one of the a couple of this group, South Sharia, they came there and they had a fight with them. So when people got killed, they took them away, and they never said anything about it. And when they asked them, when they come on TV, like your casualties, how many people got killed, they would tell you no answer. They wouldn't even tell you if some people got killed or not. They will just ignore the question. I don't know what's the idea behind that.
We have also people participating this situation because if you're gonna be silent and you're not saying your mind or not voting, somebody will win and somebody you don't agree with them. So you have to go and vote. We encourage people to vote, not just for you, for the future. And a lot of people, even a lot of maybe Arab, I don't know, but when you're not voting, you are making it worse than it's better because you're being negative instead of being positive.
But it's like not voting is also a choice.
Yeah, I know, but
Not all the cases is a negative thing.
I know, but you have to say your mind, or you have a right to.
Boycotting.
Huh?
Boycotting is always an option. My
What?
mind is to boycott.
To boycott.
Yeah.
Yes, we're not forcing you. We're just giving you recommending you to go and vote. Like someone might say I'm free to harm myself. You can't do that.
How popular is General Hospital? Because I've read some articles.
Very, very popular.
Yeah, because people are dissatisfied with the current government.
Yes, because we had years of disappointment, so we were looking for anything to come up as small hope. So when he comes, and even if he wants to become a dictator, you'll see groups of people trying to support him.
He did something instead of politicians of blah blah blah. We will do. We will do. We will do. Sorry, honey.
But
Libyan SUSI.
the thing is he did something because he had an army. So whenever you had an army, you get to do something because you got troops.
No,
Actually,
but
he was not.
The
getting
politicians doesn't have an army.
He was not the head of army.
No.
He was not what?
He was not the head of army.
Yeah,
he was just
but
a
he gets his
general.
conviction because he was a general.
The army, they welcomed him to come and head this coalition.
Still, he had an army.
Do you know the real head of army, the general of all army of Libya? He says that this is a coup, and he's giving funds, which the constitution, not the constitution, I don't know actually, but there's this amount of money from the country's budget that goes to support the military. Most of it goes to the militias, and this general, he's responsible for that, and he thinks it's okay. I see. People are a bit quiet.
Oh, how about one more question? Is that okay? No, go ahead. No, it's you.
Okay, what about the economy and the relationship between the economy and the political situation in Libya? Because we all know and we have the idea that Libya is one of the most stable economies. Even it is because it's based on only one thing, which is exporting oil resources. So you do have one of the most stable economies ever. So why is it happening? I mean, why? I mean, it's just the economical situation is and the environment and also the life conditions are really important in pushing people to just have this kind of confection between each other. So what is the relationship between the economical situation and the political situation?
one thing you could say is that all these militias, they have all the money they need. And after the revolution, there was like a huge gap of power that the National Transitional Council failed to fill it in. Instead of separating the militias, they had kept them, called them rebels, and gave them monthly allowances and like bonuses. It goes for thousands. Like, we had people signing up in the militias that weren't actually fighting in the revolution. So it became easier, it became popular that, oh, you could just go and sign in a militia, and they tell you like, you're on duty for 3 hours a week, standing in some place, and you can get like a monthly allowance more than someone who works at a decent job.
Thing is, like I've just Googled Haftar. So he was trained here by the CIA in America. And he was working with the Gaddafi. Then he was out with the Gaddafi. I don't know. But I don't see like he was some kind of trustworthy or something.
Well, most of the people who are in the government or had helped in the revolution, they were working with Gaddafi. That's the first thing. Okay, there's another thing that makes this guy very popular. It's that there's this famous video back Gaddafi's time. People were sitting, and he was sitting in the front row. Gaddafi was saying a speech, and after he finished, he stood, and the people were clapping. And you know that if you don't clap, like, you're gonna end your life. And they had him in the camera, and he was the only person not clapping. So I can't count like how many things that he has done, but we have like a culture that we see this guy, just like the one before him who headed the National Transitional Council. He worked with Gaddafi, but he said no to some of the things that he asked him to do.
Great. Thank you very much.